Coming up next, a controversial policy change on public comments at county supervisor meetings. It has passed after hateful and racist speech. Tonight, it is getting pushback.
Plus, what a new survey reveals about how Californians feel about economic disparity between the rich and the poor in California, and if it's getting worse.
Can businesses that refuse to comply with the vaccine or test mandate really face steep fines? We verify.
And a custody decision tonight regarding the children of a missing Chula Vista woman.
The children of missing mother Maya Miliete will remain for now in the custody of their father's parents. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. In court today, a judge also ordered weekly visitation with the three children for Maya's side of the family. And as News 8's David Goffredson reports, a court-appointed attorney is now in place to represent the best interests of those children.
It is not at all surprising that the court's initial inclination in an emergency setting is to just maintain the status quo as it exists today.
The three children of missing mother Maya Miliete will remain in the custody of their father's parents in Chula Vista, at least for now. The father, Larry Miliete, is in jail, charged with murdering his wife. No cameras were allowed in Wednesday's hearing, where Maya's sister, Mary Chris Droulet, was seeking an emergency order granting her guardianship of the kids. That did not happen, but the judge did order weekly visitation with the kids for Maya's side of the family. The ruling came as no surprise to family law attorney Anton Georgiou, who is not involved in the case.
It's a conservative decision on the part of the court, but the court has to be conservative here. You know, maintaining stability for the children is what the court is initially after, as well as assuring their safety.
The court also appointed what's called a guardian ad litem, San Diego attorney Kelly James, to represent the interests of the kids. The judge said James will be given a copy of a so-called forensic interview of the three children, which has already been conducted at Rady Hospital's Chadwick Center in Kearny Mesa.
Usually when there's the use of this word forensic, it does mean that it's an official investigation. So you would have a detective and you would have someone from CWS questioning the child.
The family law attorney believes the forensic interview of the children would certainly have concentrated on their missing mother.
I'm sure that the kids weren't just asked about what happened on a specific day. They were probably asked all kinds of questions about the family as a whole. So when wife disappears, the investigation wouldn't have just focused on husband. It would have looked at everyone in the family.
The guardian ad litem will also be provided recordings of telephone calls Larry Miliete made from jail to his three children in violation of a criminal protective order.
Today's hearing was considered an emergency hearing, and the judge decided not to rule on who will get guardianship of the kids. That hearing will come later once all the evidence is in on January 19th. Marcella?
David, these children, you feel for them. They've lost their mother. Their father's now in jail on murder charges. Have you heard any update on how the kids are doing?
Well, it's amazing. The attorney representing the kids said in court today that they're actually doing okay. Their grades are looking good, and there have been no behavioral problems at school.
All right, David, thanks. We continue to just kind of say, send them our positive thoughts and hope that this situation can be wrapped up sooner than later. Thanks, David.
Despite pushback today, county supervisors passed new rules to curtail what they call inappropriate, hate-filled public comments in their meetings.
This move comes after last week's racist rant by one man, and county leaders say enough is enough. News 8's Kirsten Holmes is here tonight with details.
Yeah, county supervisors say meetings in San Diego and really all across the country have gotten more and more hostile. Now, I want to show you what brought us to today's vote and why county leaders say they voted 3-1 to approve civil discourse rules for county meetings going forward.
Vargas, I can't wait for your arteries to clog. They're not doing it fast enough. And Nathan, you should kill yourself. Lawson Reamer.
Now, that was the comment from a public speaker at last week's meeting that went on to direct a racial slur at the county's public health director, a black woman that county leaders say was the last straw. Now, according to county supervisors, it's what led to the approval of the civil discourse measure. The new rules prohibit threatening speech, disruptive conduct, including clapping hands and stomping feet, when it disrupts meetings. And public comment can be reduced to 1 minute when there are 10 or more speakers instead of the usual 2 minutes. County leaders say the measure brings San Diego County in line with other city and county rules, but critics of the new rule say that it limits free speech.
That individual they are using as a means to an end. They're trying to take him and say, because of this person and we don't like what they said, we're going to stop everybody else from being able to speak, which really is what they've wanted to do all along.
Everyone will always and forever have the First Amendment right to speak at the board meeting. The right to dissent, disagree, express grievances is a proper functioning of local government and will forever.
County leaders want to stress that this is not a limit on free speech and that they want public comment to always be welcome. Some dissenters who called into the board meeting told county leaders today that if they cannot handle pressure from their constituents, then it might be time for them to retire.
Certainly a fine line being walked here. So, Kirsten, when do these new rules go into effect?
They go into effect immediately, Carlos, starting at the November 16th board meeting.
All right, we'll see how they actually enforce those rules. Kirsten Holmes reporting live. Thanks, Kirsten. Convicted cop killer Jesse Gomez will be sentenced to death after a judge refused to throw out the jury's sentencing recommendation today. Defense attorneys filed a motion to set aside the death penalty, but the judge ruled that the evidence in the case supports that verdict. Gomez's attorneys say they will appeal. He was convicted earlier this year for shooting and killing SDPD officer J.D. de Guzman and wounding his partner Wade Ehrman back in 2016. His official sentencing is February.
Police arrested a minor suspected of stealing a car today after a chase through San Diego. Officers say the boys stole a car in Pacific Beach just after 7 o'clock this morning. They tracked the car using GPS, leading to a pursuit on the 15 freeway. He crashed near the Hillary Drive exit. He was arrested and a female passenger was hospitalized with neck and back injuries. Governor Gavin Newsom visited a COVID vaccine and flu shot clinic today at a VA hospital up in Los Angeles. He was highlighting the state's ongoing efforts to increase vaccination rates. Newsom was also promoting booster and flu shots, which he says are especially important as winter approaches.
God forbid you bring that home. God forbid you bring it to a stranger that you meet who has a immune system that's compromised or a medical condition. And I don't think anyone wants to see that happen.
Boosters have been approved for the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines.
The Biden administration says its program to vaccinate children ages 5 through 11 against COVID-19 is off to a strong start.
Meantime, as Michael George reports, a large government employees union has asked the White House to extend a November 22nd deadline to get vaccinated.
Federal health officials estimate more than 900,000 U.S. children ages 5 to 11 will have received their first COVID-19 vaccination by the end of the day.
Parents and families across the country are breathing giant sighs of relief, and we are just getting started.
The Biden administration calls it a strong start to the program, which started last week, with an additional 700,000 appointments already scheduled at local pharmacies. About 28 million children in that age group are now eligible to get the low-dose Pfizer shot. Pfizer is also asking federal officials to authorize its booster for everyone 18 and older, citing new data. The third shot offers close to complete protection from severe COVID.
FDA is currently looking at the data for expanding boosters to all populations.
On CBS Mornings, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said it's likely the coronavirus will be around for some time, but with the help of vaccines, we'll be able to live with it.
We can ultimately get COVID, I think, to a place where it's somewhere in between the cold and the flu, where, yes, it's a virus that's circulating, but it doesn't disrupt our way of life, doesn't prevent us from seeing the people we love, doesn't prevent our kids from being in school.
Meanwhile, a union representing more than 700,000 government workers has asked the White House to extend a November 22nd deadline to get vaccinated. Michael George, CBS News, New York.